The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Close your eyes and pull like a dog.
And a new Irish record for Phil Healy, 22.99.
Christy Cooney hands over the Sam Maguire Cup to Graham Canty, Cork All-Ireland champions for the 7th time ever.
So hello and welcome to another episode of the Star Sport podcast. I'm your host Matthew Hurley and I'm joined today, as always, by Star Sport editor Kieran McCarthy. The Star Sport podcast is brought to you in association with our friends at Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, where your bank really does matter. Choose credit union, choose local, choose community. Now later in the show we'll be joined by Clonakilty Soccer Club veteran goalkeeper Iain O'Driscoll after the Clonakilty club obviously won their second Beamish Cup in a row after a thrilling final against Ardfield. And I suppose, Kieran, that's where we'll start our roundup this week, the Beamish Cup final, obviously the main soccer cup competition around West Cork. And it was an absolute thriller of a final in Turner's Cross over the weekend. The game ended 3-3 after extra time. Clonakilty Soccer Club needed a late Ruben Henry equaliser to take it to penalty shootout, and Clonakilty Soccer Club won their second cup in a row on a 7-6 shootout in that final. So you couldn't have asked for a better ending to the Beamish Cup, Kieran. We previewed this at the start of the season and we're all looking forward to the Beamish Cup. The ending has definitely reflected what the cup competition in West Cork is all about.
Is there any chance we can clip up the start of the year, Matthew, when you asked who we think would win the Beamish Cup? I'm sure, I think I was tentatively going for Clonakilty. I could be proven wrong here, but I was, if I did say Clon, I was obviously back in the favourites, and that's just how it worked out. But like, you're right, what an ending to this year's Beamish Cup. It's such an important and prestigious competition here in West Cork, and for the final to deliver like it did in Turner's Cross in the League of Ireland Stadium, it's just incredible. Your heart would go to Ardfield just for a moment on Ardfield. Like it's been the story of this season's Beamish Cup, how a team that's second from bottom of the championship knocked out so many big guns to get to the cup final. They took out Drina Rangers 8, they took out Dunmanway Town, took out Barry United, took out Spartak Mosgrove, all teams who were above them in the league. And then when they went 3-2 up in extra time last Sunday, you're thinking, oh Christ, are we onto something here? Because they were 2-0 down in normal time, came back to make it 2-2, force extra time, then they went 3-2 up, and you were really looking at one of the great sports stories then, kind of how these surprise packets kind of went all the way. But Clonakilty, we've spoken about it before, Matthew, they just know how to win games, an incredibly experienced team who have won it all in last season and in a good position to kind of go on and win more silverware this year. I think their experience and their strength and their resilience told in the end, but it still needed a penalty shootout. But what a Beamish Cup final.
Unreal Beamish Cup final, without a doubt. And you said we have to credit Ardfield, and I suppose we have to credit them even more, considering context is needed here. They're second for bottom of the championship. They drew 2-2 against Clonakilty after normal time. They went ahead, and if it wasn't for that, a brilliant header again from Ruben Henry, we would have probably been talking about Ardfield on this podcast as Beamish Cup champions. It's an incredible story, and they should be credited, obviously, for the run that they had in the Beamish Cup, considering their position in the league as of right now.
Yeah, they need to take a huge amount of credit, and they take a huge amount of positives from this Beamish Cup run. It just showed, like, kind of, okay, struggling in the championship, but the Beamish Cup just gave them a chance to express themselves, and they really did that. Like, they've like I said, just an incredible story. And even looking here, it was both from Chris Collins and Liam Anthony White had put Clon 2-0 up. Then Ben Lenihan pulled him back in the 78th minute. George Cannon in the 90th minute. That was the force extra time. And then Tommaso Donovan got this, Jerry McCarthy described it as an all-time Beamish Cup final classic goal, kind of a rasper from distance to put them 3-2 up. And then that's when you dare to dream. And I can imagine the Ardfield fans at Turner's Cross were like almost pinching themselves on Sunday. Is this real? Are we actually ahead against Clonakilty in extra time of a Beamish Cup final? They got so close to getting their hands on what would have been one of the the most famous wins in this competition. But then Clonakilty came back, like we said, Ruben Henry, captain fantastic with that late header, and then they won 7-6 on penalties. But Ardfield can take so much from this cup run. They've given, I suppose, for themselves first, they showed what they can do when they get a full team out. You know, kind of they can be a serious West Cork League team. Like, there's definitely potential there. But even for, let's say, for their club and their family and the fans and everyone connected with Ardfield, like the thrill and the joy and the cup run that they've given everyone involved in the club this season has just been great to see. And I know they had a super day out at Turner's Cross. Okay, they didn't get the results, but it's a voyage that will live long in the memory.
Exactly, and what a story it was for Ardfield to reach the cup final in the first place. But obviously, the main story is Clonakilty Soccer Club. They're going to try and do the double-double in the next few weeks. Obviously, the Premier Division, they're in a healthy enough position in that Dreen are still top at the time of recording, but Clon themselves are in a very, very healthy situation in the Premier Division in terms of winning it. They won the Premier Division and the Cup last year. And before we cross over to Iain O'Driscoll, who we have on an interview in this week's podcast, Kieran, do you think they could do the double-double? It's certainly attainable now. Can they win the Premier Division to complete an almost historic achievement in West Cork sport?
If we're looking at last season, when Clonakilty won the Beamish Cup, it was almost a springboard for what was to follow in the weeks to come. It gave them that confidence that they go on to win their first West Cork League Premier Division, which they did do then in the final day of last season. If they win their games in hand on Drina, they're going to go, I think, 5 points clear. You know, they're in a strong position right now, Clonakilty, but they need to win their games in hand. It's that old kind of question Matthew was in: are you better off having points on the board or better off having games in hand? Clonakilty have those games in hand. They're going to have a busy couple of weeks now as they play catch up with Drina Rangers. I'm looking here next Monday night. Clonakilty Soccer Club take on Castletown Celtic in a West Cork League Premier Division Cup semi-final. So they're obviously going well in that competition as well. But to answer your question, can Clon win the league? Yeah, of course they can, because they've showed now last season and this season they're a serious outfit. I think unbeaten in the West Cork League this year. You know, kind of they'll take big confidence off winning the Beamish Cup. And I know Ruben Henry was saying after their captain, he was saying after the final on Sunday, like, they want more. So winning the Beamish Cup could be a springboard for what's to come in the weeks ahead. You know, kind of Clonakilty will want to win every competition that they're in, and they're going to take some stopping right now, but they're in a very strong position. But that said, they still have to go out and win the games that are coming up. You know, kind of Drina Rangers have shown over the last couple of weeks that the West Cork League can be quite tricky. You know, kind of Drina have dropped points at various points of the season, so Clonakilty have to be very wary of that too. That the standard in the league is quite high. So if they're not on it, they could drop points. But they'd have to say Clon are on the driving seat right now.
Absolutely, and we will cross over to their experience. One of their elder statesmen, we could say at this stage, and Iain O'Driscoll now, like, has been around Clonakilty Soccer Club or Clonakilty Town, Clonakilty AFC for so many seasons now. He joins us on this week's podcast. So Clonakilty Soccer Club are Beamish Cup champions for the second year running, and I'm delighted to be joined by their veteran goalkeeper at this stage, Iain O'Driscoll, to discuss their Beamish Cup win over Ardfield last Sunday. 3-3 draw after extra time, and then Clon won 7-6 on penalties. Iain, has it sunk in yet that you're Beamish Cup champion for the second time running?
No, not quite actually. I suppose it was a rocky final for us, and it was kind of hard to completely enjoy it in the end, I suppose, for me anyway, personally, just with the controversy of the penalties and everything and being goal. It's not brilliant experience, but you know, obviously getting the win in the end was unreal, and to do it 2 years in a row is I suppose not many teams get to do that, so it was fantastic.
And given like the quality of the game as well, the excitement of the game, the fact it went to penalties as well. I know it might be a nightmare situation for goalkeepers in general for a penalty shootout, but to win it in that kind of fashion, and especially with a late equaliser in extra time as well, you must be absolutely thrilled. The whole team must be absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, it was definitely an emotional roller coaster, we'll say. I think we were quite confident going in. We were probably favourites going in. And being two up with kind of 20 minutes to go or so, I think I was convinced we had won, and then to end up drawing, going to extra time, to go down then by a goal in extra time, was not great. But then Ruben, of course, came up trumps 3 minutes to go in extra time to get the equaliser, and then obviously then we had the penalties, which it's surprisingly enough, I didn't mind the penalties too much. I don't think there's too much pressure on the goalkeeper in those. I think there's a lot more pressure on each penalty taker rather than the goalie. I didn't feel it too much anyway, thank God.
It's a kind of a statement that's kind of unexpected in many ways, because like in soccer normally a lot of people would say the goalkeeper could be the hero, could be the villain in many ways. I suppose the decisive penalty taker could be as well. But how do you prepare for a penalty shootout as a goalkeeper yourself?
To answer you truthfully, I didn't. That was definitely a big error on my part. I suppose I didn't actually envisage it going to penalties at any point for some reason. And but yeah, look, I think when you're in goal for penalties, you're trying to read the player taking the penalty, and you're also just guessing to a certain extent. So I'm not sure there's much you can do as a goalie to prepare. I think it's more the penalty takers that have to actually practice where they're going, and whether they decide to stick to the same side or go the opposite direction on the day or whatever. But with a goalie, I think you're just trying to read the player, and you just try and get to it basically. So there wasn't much preparation put in, being honest, and that might have shown in the first 5 penalties that went in. Sorry, 6 actually. It was the 7th one before I got a hand to one. So yeah, maybe a bit more practice for next time.
Well, you've won the cup anyway, so it may be a bit of practice for the end of the league, and that's the thing. You
Yeah.
could want to win the double now. You won the Premier Division and Beamish Cup double last year. You're aiming to do the same this year. You're in a healthy position in the Premier Division. Is the aim? Well, the aim is obviously to push on and catch Drina Rangers, obviously at the top. But that would be an amazing achievement if it was to be done at the end of the season.
Yeah, obviously that is our goal, but I think there's a long way to go, and it's definitely not an easy path. We have a lot of difficult fixtures ahead, with Drina being one of them. We have Bunratty, who I think are kind of slightly in a relegation battle. We have Toho, who are always really strong, always hard to beat. So we don't have an easy ride. I think the main one would probably be playing Drina, right? If we can beat them or even get a draw, I think that would help. But I would definitely say it's still a very much an uphill battle. So who knows what'll happen, but obviously the goal is definitely to try and achieve the double.
And as well, at the end, obviously, after the Beamish Cup final, you said to our reporter Joe McCarthy after the game, it would be a great way to see out my last season. So, like, that would be an amazing kind of story to win the Premier Division as well as the Beamish Cup in your last year, or is it your last year?
Yeah, every time I say that, people say, "You said that for the last 5 years." Yeah, I've been kind of been giving up for the last number of years, and you kind of keep getting drawn back in. I suppose I've played soccer since I was like 6, 7 years old, and played 20 seasons now as an adult, and it just becomes part of your life, doesn't it? Every single weekend during the winter months, anyway, you just always have a game, and it's hard to give it up. But at the same time, I'm 38, getting to that stage where it is time to move on. So look, that's the plan at the moment. But I better not say, just in case. I might say it's a maybe, but it's most likely. Yeah, it'd be a great way to finish, though. But like we've the Beamish Cup going now, and I did say at the start of the season that I would take one. Obviously we want the double, but I would always accept 1 out of 2 as an achievement in itself.
And what has been done with this team by obviously the players have put in an amazing effort, obviously, but like the management team of John Leahy and Lord Aitmead, like what sort of influences have they had on Clonakilty Soccer Club over the last few seasons?
Oh, it's been fantastic. Mosey's been there, for, geez, I don't even know how long is it, 30 years at this stage. Probably, I think he actually started coaching, managing, I think, around the same time I started playing. So it's probably 20 seasons now he's been managing. And, he's just a massive servant to the club and to Clon soccer in general. Lauren then came in last season to kind of take over, I suppose, the coaching aspect of things. And, we've only got better as a result. So the two of them have been unreal. I think the timing was just perfect because we got a lot of new players that joined in the last couple of seasons. We had a couple of lads come home from abroad who kind of started back playing again. Liam Anthony White and Shane Bunnemer. They're kind of my age category, so just about squeezing back in the door. So that mixture then of experience, new players, it kind of all just happened at once, which was fantastic. So, you know, we were lucky in one sense to have that combination of the management, the coaching, and then the players. You know, because as you know yourself, like a squad is vital for challenging, I suppose, leagues and cups. And just week in, week out, trying to get a team out. You need a good team and you need a good squad. And if you don't have those replacements, it's what normally gets you over the line. And that was definitely evident to us last year, massively so. But again, this year, you know, even the semi-final there, the Beamish Cup, one of our best players, Alan Murphy, was out injured. And Mark Irwin, who's actually a year older than me, stepped in, took his place in centre midfield, which is a challenging position to play, and he played outstanding, you know. And I you know, without that cover, it just makes it very difficult to compete in all these cups.
Talked about the mix of youth and experience there, and the players coming in to add something to the party in many ways. Like, does that make, in general, what Clonakilty Soccer Club have been over the last few seasons in winning league titles and winning cups? Has the mix of youth and experience and quality, of course, as well, been a key factor in winning these trophies?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's having that cover in every position and having certain players for certain games, and the lads have definitely changed up who was selected based on the opposition. But we just have a great mixture of youth and experience on the team, and it's just really stood to us. Again, it's just that whole squad effort of having enough players. You know, like for example, now on Sunday we had 3 central defenders who were on the bench that could have easily been on the pitch. So you've got 3 playing, and then you've 3 on the bench that could have just taken their places straight away. So there is just cover for every position, and some lads playing a few different positions, and then again it's a mixture of that experience and youth. So, you know, energy, and actually some of the older lads still, though, like Liam Anthony White, he's still got loads of energy, you know. So he's got the experience and a bit of youth in the body, like so. It made a huge difference to us for sure.
And just looking forward to the rest of the Premier Division, obviously. Is there kind of pressure on you? Do you feel a bit of pressure moving at that end of the stage of the season? Or does this Beamish Cup win kind of relieve that pressure a small bit going into the late running?
That's a good question, actually. I'm not sure. I don't think there's too much pressure. I think there's a bit of an expectation maybe, but I don't think we feel it, because you know yourself, it's game by game when it comes to the league. Obviously, when it comes to a final, there's one game, but we've so many games. We've 4 in hand, I think it is, and then we've obviously Drina to play. So maybe when we play Drina, we might feel a bit more pressure, but every other game is just going to have to just take it game by game and hope that we keep winning.
And just one final question, Iain. Obviously, you've played soccer a long time now. Great success as well in the last few seasons with Clonakilty Soccer Club. How much do you enjoy the sport of soccer, especially the Beamish Cup and playing in the West Cork League over the last years or so? Obviously, at the time that you have been playing soccer.
I fell in love with the sport since I was about 6 years old. Well, I remember watching David Beckham. I was a big Beckham fan rather than a United fan. But I just remember wearing this number 7 jersey, wanted to play right midfield, and not much has changed. I just still love playing. So yeah, and like I coached throughout quite a period of it as well, and even the likes of Callum, you know, who actually stepped up and took our 7 penalty. I think he's only 18. I was actually coaching him when he was about 9 years old, so it's really cool then to be playing with them. So it just means so much, and I'm a big advocate of soccer in Clonakilty. I want it to keep growing. I want it to have the same level of commitments from the town even as other sports get, and just keep bringing the sport up in Clon and in West Cork in general. You know, I think we need to keep pushing to get it higher up the rankings.
And you definitely have over the last few seasons with Clonakilty winning all the cups and the cup success, and just the sheer brilliance of Clonakilty Soccer Club over the last few seasons. Iain, thanks for coming on the Star Sport podcast today. Again, congratulations from all to Southern Star and winning the Beamish Cup, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks very much, Matthew. Thanks for having me.
The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
So the Beamish Cup wasn't the only event to happen in West Cork over the weekend, as the West Cork Rally also took place. And Keith Cronin did defend his West Cork Rally title along with his co-driver Mikey Galvin, but not without a bit of controversy, Kieran. Fermanagh John Armstrong and his Donegal co-driver Shane Byrne were excluded from the event after it was found that they'd contravened with the regulations with their Ford Fiesta Rally too, and it did not finish the 18th stage rally on its own power. So John Armstrong actually won the West Cork Rally, but then because regulations were broken, Keith won the rally in the end. A lot of controversy there, Kieran, but Keith defends his title.
Yeah, Keith is a back-to-back West Cork Rally winner. I know people talking about the controversy, Matthew, but in a sense, there isn't controversy in one sense because the rules were followed and the rules are almost there for a reason. And it just so happens that John Armstrong was on the wrong side of the rules in terms of, like you said, that help that he got, the assistance that he got, which contravened the rules that are in place. So it's not the way that Keith Cronin would have wanted to win the West Cork Rally. He, like any rally driver, they'd love to win it on the road with stage times, but it just wasn't to be because what happened, and Keith Cronin emerged as the winner after the weekend. And it's quite important for Keith in a sense because that he was going to pick up the kind of the maximum points in the Irish Tarmac Rally Championship in a way, and that's when he stepped into second place on Sunday. That's why he didn't push hard to kind of come back against John Armstrong because he knew that he could get the maximum ITRC points. So he was just trying to consolidate second place for himself. But as it showed in the end, you know, with what happened after the stages finished with John Armstrong being excluded, that Keith was the winner. But and like you said, back-to-back champion.
Exactly, and I'm sure Keith will enjoy the win-win. Well, it's an unprecedented kind of situation for him, but obviously he'll have to take that momentum going into the rest of the Irish Tarmac Rally Championship. And congratulations to Keith and Mikey Galvin for winning the West Cork Rally for the second year running. Moving on to Gaelic Games now, and we're coming off the back of a win this time here, not a loss. The Cork footballers did beat Louth over the weekend in Super Valley Park Keeve on a scoreline of 123 to 18 points. It means Cork are on 6 points at the moment. Louth and Down are both on 6, which means Cork are relatively safe, but not entirely safe just yet. If Down and Louth both beat their opponents respectively in Monaghan and Meath, and Cork lose to Cavan this Sunday in Kingspan Breffni at 1:30 p.m, then it could get a bit tricky. So yeah, Kieran, they look like they're safe, the Cork footballers. A good performance, first of all, against Louth. Like, it was well needed. Excellent. Well, I wouldn't say excellent performance now, but a good performance just to get over the line against this Louth team, especially that Louth did beat Cork twice last season.
Exactly, and we've spoken about it so much, Matthew, about Cork needing to beat teams in and around their own level. Over the last couple of years, Cork and Louth have become rivals as such. You know, was it their 6th time playing since John Cleary's been in charge of the Cork footballers. It's now 3 wins apiece, but this was an important win for Cork for a number of reasons. First off, to kind of stave off those relegation worries, which were growing stronger after the losses to Monaghan and to Roscommon. So you would think now that Cork they are safe, touch wood here. Like, it would take a lot to go wrong on Sunday for Cork to find themselves in the relegation zone at the end of the final round of action. So I'm assuming that Cork will not be dragged into that relegation kind of dogfight on Sunday. It's going to be a tough game up against Cavan, but Cork will take positives from the win against Louth. Okay, albeit an understripped Louth who were missing a number of important players, but Cork still got the job done, and that's what we wanted to see. Cork go out and beat a team that are of a similar standard to them, and that's exactly what Cork did. Like, you're up to yourself, Matthew. Like, what were the big positives that you took away from Páirc Uí Chaoimh?
I think the fact that, again, Cork did very well in the midfield. And to be honest, like, ever since, I would say, round 3 against Westmeath, Cork have dominated midfield in every game. I know they've lost two of those games against Monaghan and Roscommon, but that is a positive in Colin McCann and Ian Maguire coming back. Sean Walsh even coming on at some stages of the game did very well. I thought shooting, they were actually much, much better. Like, in the first half alone, I think they converted 11 out of 15 shots. And to be honest, it should have been 12. Chris Oak Jones, that is the full forward, should have had a shot that went over the bar, but it was waved wide. I don't know why, but obviously it didn't matter the scoreline in the end. But a 74% shot accuracy for Cork, which is a much improved effort than the around 40 or 30% against Roscommon. And the fact they beat Louth comprehensively enough, 8 points in it. Louth needed 6 2-pointers kind of to stay in the game, particularly from their fantastic captain, Samuel Royce, hitting 5 2-pointers. He had 11 points overall out of Louth's 18. So, like, without him, Louth were really struggling in this game. But Cork did very well in terms of midfield, in terms of attack as well, and defensively as well. I know Cork have conceded a lot of goals in previous games, 8 goals conceded in their 3 previous games before this game against Louth. But particularly Sean Brady, Neil Lorne, the 2 cornerbacks, who have been probably, as John Cleary described in interviews in the last few weeks, been thrown in the deep end. They performed very well in the full back line, in fairness, against a tricky enough Louth outfit. Daniel O'Mahony did very well at full back as well. So there was a lot of positives to take. I think probably the only downside is Cork didn't win by more. And I know that's probably nitpicking a small bit, but considering the points difference, Cork were still on a -9 in scoring difference. That situation could have been improved if they pushed on even more, but you can't have everything, I suppose. But a lot of positives to take out of this game. Particularly, I would think the attack was fine enough, but the defence not to concede a goal and to look as comfortably as they did against Louth on Sunday, that has to be a positive.
100%, and hopefully Cork can build on this now. It's going to be tricky up away to Cavan this weekend. Like, Cavan are in a great run of form at the moment. It's 4 wins in a row, and Cavan are hoping to sneak into the kind of the promotion spots themselves. So this will be another test for Cork. But I'm looking here, Matthew. The Munster Senior Football Championship, Cork are away to Limerick on April 5th. That's not too far away, kind of. That game is just around the corner, that Munster Senior Football quarter-final. So Cork will want to have some bit of momentum going into that game. Okay, that's a game that Cork will be expected to win regardless, kind of. And then you're looking at a semi-final against Kerry just after that. So this is an opportunity for Cork to put in another good performance and to finish the league on a high and just have that bit of momentum and optimism and feel-good factor heading into the championship, because that's obviously, like I said there, that's only 2 weeks away this Saturday. That's not too far at all. So hopefully we'll see another good Cork performance. And you're making the trip, Matthew. I think we'll have to have some sort of award for you, Matthew. You've gone to every Cork game this year. You've been up and down, up in Monaghan, and so on. So you're looking forward to the trip to Cavan. What are you expecting from it?
I'm expecting a good game. In fairness, like, Cavan themselves are in a promotion charge. You have to say, after beating Roscommon last weekend. So generally, Division 2 is going to be very interesting. And like, Breffni Park, never been there before, so looking forward to that, obviously. And yeah, like, seeing the Cork footballers, it's been a brilliant journey so far. Like, in the last few seasons, I've travelled as a fan to Owen Beg and Derry and Longford and all them places. Travel there, reporting for the Southern Stars, a bit different, but absolutely love to do it, obviously. And yeah, it's a brilliant experience so far. And yeah, hopefully the Cork footballers can get over the line against Cavan. At least a draw would do, in terms of consolidating 5th position at least. And the Tailteann Cup, there won't be any worry realistically if Cork do finish 5th as well. So hopefully they do get over the line and they get the result that they do need. In terms of the Cork hurlers, they were boosted by a result that didn't involve them last weekend. Limerick obviously losing to Kilkenny 29 points to 20, which does mean in their upcoming game in Super Valley Park team against Galway this Saturday at 7:30 p.m, that game is live on RT2, Cork only need a draw or a win to progress to the league final against Tipperary. So brilliant position for Pat Ryan's team to be in, and especially after beating Clare the last day out by 15 points, they'll be very confident going into this game.
I think so. Like you said, Cork are in control of their own destiny here now, heading into this game against Galway this weekend. We've said it before, Matthew, it would be a boost for this Cork team if they can get their hands on some silverware. To get to the league final is obviously a step closer to that. This is a Cork team with the bit between their teeth, and it's going to be tested this weekend. We're starting to learn more about this Cork team. And also a very interesting aside, and I know you're someone who loves your stats, Matthew, that Patrick Horgan will become the all-time leading scorer in the Allianz Hurling League if he scores 2 points or more for Cork against Galway. I think you'd fancy him to do that. His current tally is 25 goals and 664 points, which is a grand total of 739 points, and he's just 2 behind Kilkenny legend Eddie Keher, who has 72 goals and 524 points for a grand total of 740 points. So what are the odds on Patrick Horgan becoming the all-time top scorer in the hurling league this weekend?
Very high, I'd say, and especially the fact I think he scored 16 points overall, 10 points in one of the last games against Kilkenny as well. I think he genuinely scored about 2 or 3 against Clare as well. So if he is on the freeze, he is going to get this easily, in my opinion as well. So should be interesting to see that kind of standpoint, and the fact that Cork could be in the league final as well in the next few weeks. So we'll have to see how it all plays out, and hopefully the hurlers do get over the line. In terms of the ladies footballers, they're up against Clare this Sunday as well at 2 p.m. And this game is on in Nave Vaughan in Ballyvorney at 2 p.m. this Sunday, obviously. A win would almost guarantee the Cork ladies into a Division 2 final, probably against Galway. So Joe Carroll's team are in a very good position going into this game against a struggling Clare side that are currently in the relegation zone. So you'd have to expect the Cork team to win. But just on a side note, the game in Nave Vaughan, it's great for the Ballyvorney area in general.
Exactly, yeah, it's great. We've seen the Cork ladies footballers come out of the city before. Like obviously they've played up in Mallow, but there was a couple of games in Clonakilty in the not too distant past, and it's great to see Neva Vaughan hosting this game on Sunday. It's a 2 p.m. throw-in, so hopefully there will be a huge crowd at the Ballyvorney club, just to even all around that Gaeltacht kind of mid-Cork area, just to come and support the Cork ladies footballers. It's the first time Neva Vaughan have got to host an inter-county ladies football game like this, and there's a couple of the club players on the Cork panel too, so it'll be a very special occasion for them. But always putting the sentiment to one side for a second, Cork have a job to do here. They have to beat Clare, and you'd fancy to do it. Cork have been pretty impressive in this Division 2 league campaign. They look like they will bounce straight back up to Division 1, which is a good result for Joe Carroll in his first season in charge. So far, it's 4 wins out of 5, and I think, as far as I know, if Cork can be clear on Sunday, that's as good as Cork being promoted. There's an away game to Donegal the follow, like that's a long trip up north. But if Cork get the job done against Clare, they'll be looking at the Division 2 league final and promotion back up to Division 1, and that's just what this team needs right now before returning to the Munster Championship and the All-Ireland series, which aren't too far away. So yeah, hopefully it'll be a memorable occasion in Ballyvorney on Sunday.
Hopefully the Cork ladies do reach that league final. And after the hurlers and the ladies footballers, there's also the camogie team are aiming to make a league final this weekend as well. If they beat Tipperary in the Rag this Saturday at 2 p.m. in Thurles, then Cork will be in a league final with 1 game to spare as well. So Germany's side have won 3 games out of 3. They've been probably dominant in every single one of them. They're back-to-back All-Ireland champions as well. It's a great start to the league, probably expected. They still have to get the job done, but if they beat Tipperary this weekend, they have 1 box ticked in terms of 2025.
Yeah, they'll beat Tipperary, and Cork will be in the league final. Like you said, Matthew, really strong start to the year for Cork to win 3 games in a row. Okay, the bigger battles are to come in terms of the All-Ireland. That's the one where we'll start to get really excited in terms of the 3 in a row. Cork has done that since the early 70s, so that's the bigger battle that lies down the road. But as for the present, now Cork are going quite well, and it's just the preparation that they need for what's to come. Tipperary will be a challenge this weekend. Tipperary are undefeated in the league as well, 2 wins and a draw, so it's gonna be a test for Cork. But that's just what you want from a Division 1A campaign. Like if Cork steamrolled every team, you're learning nothing going into the championship, so Cork will want to be tested, and they will want to find the answers to those tests as well. So again, it's another chance for us to learn more about this Cork team. We do know a lot about this team already, like is in that they're a hell of an outfit, like back-to-back All-Ireland champions, but we just want to see where they are right now. So again, I think Germany and his management team will be looking for a positive performance and a positive result, and if they do, roll on a league final.
Exactly, and hopefully the camogie team do reach a league final. Hopefully there'll be 3 teams in a league final by the end of this weekend. Moving on to the hammer throw, and Nicola Tuthill, the young sensation from Kilbrittain, keeps continuing her rise. She won a gold medal in the European Throwing Cup recently. Like, Kieran, this girl from Kilbrittain cannot stop excelling in the hammer throw at the moment. Olympic Games for the first time last summer. Now she has won a gold in the European Throwing Cup. What more can she achieve?
The exciting thing about Nicola, Matthew, is that she's almost at the start of her journey in one sense. Like she's only just turned 21 there late last year, so there's so much more to come. When you think about the hammer throw for athletes, generally don't reach their peak till their late 20s, early 30s. And we're talking about Nicola, she's only 21, so there's just the best is yet to come. But it's been really exciting to see what she's achieved so far. So winning gold at the European Throwing Cup in Nicosia over the weekend. Nicola is the first Irish athlete ever to win a gold medal in this competition. If we go back 2 years ago, when Nicola won silver in the under 23 women's hammer, she was the first Irish athlete to ever win a medal at this competition as well. So it shows that she's kind of, well, you've described her as a trailblazer, because that's exactly what she is, especially from a West Cork perspective. Like, she's putting the women's hammer on the map locally. But look at what she's achieved in terms of the European Throwing Cup. First Irish medalist ever, now the first Irish gold medalist in this competition. And this is just her season, her international season opener. And I think what's really encouraging is the distance of her throws. Her winning throw was 69.74 meters. So that's just 26 centimeters short of the 70-meter mark. And we think back to last year when Nicola's PB was 70.32. So Nicola was less than 60 meters short of her PB mark in one of her opening competitions of the year. And she was incredibly consistent as well, with her throws. Every throw in Nicosia went over 67 meters, so it just shows that Nicola brought her A game to the European Throwing Cup. And yeah, she's an incredible talent. Like, she's a 3-time Irish senior champion already. She's an Olympian when she was 20 years old. Touch wood, everything going well. She's a lot more Olympics ahead of her. Hopefully she can take the Irish women's hammer to distances where it's never been before. But just it was just great to see the new golden girl of West Cork sport in the headlines on last weekend.
And hopefully the sensation for Kilbrittain will keep continuing her rise in her development in the next few years, or maybe even this year. We'll have to see how it all plays out. And finally, on the rugby, and Clonakilty Sacred Heart have done the double-double. They won the junior and senior title in the Munster Schools Cup last year. They've done the same this year. In the junior final, they beat Pobbleskull Bantry on a scoring of 19 points to 7 in Virgin Media Park. And then in the senior, they beat St. Anne's Killaloe from Clare on a scoring of 36 points to 12. In the senior final, Ella O'Sullivan got a hat-trick of tries in the first half, and the other tries come from Sarah O'Sullivan, Emer Maroney and Caoimhe McCarthy. An incredible achievement from Jack Phelan's side, and Clonakilty on top again.
That's incredible. Like, to win back-to-back doubles at a schools level in Munster rugby, it's just a credit to everyone involved in rugby and Sacred Heart. And we've covered this story so much in the Southern Star over the last while. And it's just one of those great West Cork sports stories that we always talk about. This is just the third year of rugby in Sacred Heart. We think back to last year. Kate Nolan was the captain of the senior team that won the Munster Girls Senior Cup for the first time. And Kate was one of those. She's a former student at the school now, but when she was in the school, she was knocking at the vice principal and the principal's door saying, "Can we bring girls rugby into the school?" In fairness to Sacred Heart, they did. And look at the results that they've had since. To win the Senior and Junior Cup on the same day last year was an incredible achievement. To come back this year and to repeat the trick again is just like, you have to take your hats off to everyone involved in Sacred Heart. And that's from the teachers, like the coach, Jack Phelan, to the players themselves. Huge shout out here to Clonakilty Rugby Club as well, because they've played an incredible role in moulding and shaping and training and guiding these young players over the last couple of years. It's just a brilliant story for the whole Clonakilty rugby scene, and for the likes of Ella O'Sullivan to run in 3 tries in a senior cup final. Like, that's the stuff of dreams. So it's something that we cover in depth in next week's Southern Star Sport. So anyone listening to this podcast, next week's Southern Star Sport, big special on the Sacred Heart double today. But just congratulations to everyone involved. Superb achievement.
Absolutely, and what an achievement for Clonakilty rugby in general, and West Cork rugby is on the rise. We'll take a quick break now, and after the break we'll look at what's in Thursday's paper.
The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
So it is that time of the week again where we look at what's in this Thursday's Southern Star. And Kieran, it's a 28-page sports section this week. It is full of action.
Exactly. It's our biggest sports section of the year so far, Matthew. We've been working overtime in Star Sport HQ to get this one ready for Thursday morning. I think almost Pride of Place is our next generation feature, and this is one of our most popular features over the last couple of years. It's an 8-page special in the middle of the sports section where we profile 32 young sports people from right across West Cork, just to highlight the strength of West Cork sport right now and just how talented the next generation are. So whether it's Charlie Curran, he's a young Bantry basketballer, 17-year-old doing great things, or Grace Kingston, another Bantry teen when it comes to rugby, or the likes of Quiva Flannery in the steeplechase, or Katie Kingston in the javelin, or Ethan O'Donovan, a 14-year-old rising soccer star from Clonakilty who's with Cove Ramblers. Like, it's just incredible the talent that we have in West Cork right now, and in our next generation special this Thursday, we put them front and centre. We give them the stage that they deserve, just to let people know out there just how strong sport is in West Cork right now. So if I ever wanted to encourage anyone to pick up a copy of the Southern Star Sport, it really is this Thursday, because you'll be blown away by the talent that's in our region right now. On top of that, it's packed, absolutely packed. Obviously, the West Cork Rally and the Beamish Cup, there's 2-page specials on both. We have 2 pages on the county football leagues as well that were on the weekend, including a famous win for Kilmacabea to beat Inniscarra in Division 7. And this is famous because it's Kilmacabea's first ever county football league win, having taken a step up into the county leagues this year. On top of that, Skibbereen Community School are through to the All-Ireland Schools Senior A Girls Football Final, which is on Thursday week up in Nolan Park. They had a super win in their semi-final last week, and I know, Matthew, you caught up with their coach for a chat about that. And also, the last word column this week is about Conor Horan, who is, I suppose it was too late for the sports section last week, but it's huge news for Conor that he's now the caretaker boss of Barnsley until the end of the season. Barnsley sacked their manager, Darrell Clark, last Wednesday, and they turned to Conor, who was the assistant head coach, to take charge. And what an incredible opportunity for the Bandon men to be the manager of a League One club for a 10-game stretch. It's come well ahead of schedule. But if anyone was ever prepared for a moment like this, it's Conor. Like, he's put in incredible work in the background. So that's what this week's last word column is about, that Conor won't flinch in the face of one of his biggest challenges. And just one more story to flag is Sam Kingston. He's a Clonakilty man. Has a very interesting ebook out at the moment where it's packed full of stories, Irish sports stories, and there's a lot of West Cork stories in there too, from the likes of Yankee Sullivan and Dan O'Mahony and so on. So check out Thursday's Southern Star for more on this. Like I said at the outset, Matthew, it's a packed Southern Star, and it's the one that you want to get your hands on.
Exactly, and anybody that is good to shops in West Cork in particular, pick up this week's Southern Star. It is packed full of action, as we mentioned previously. And as usual, if you are further afield or can't make it to the shops, you could subscribe to the Southern Star e-paper and get the Southern Star on your laptop, tablet or phone. Just go to www.southernstar.ie/subscribe. Enter your details and you'll get an exact replica of the newspaper for less than €2 per week. As always, thanks for listening to the Star Sport podcast, and thanks again to our sponsors at Access Credit Union. If you've enjoyed this, please remember to rate, review and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll be back again next week. Until then, take care.